What's up, guys? It's Friday, so you know what time that is. It's eat a dick time. What's up, guys? It's Friday. You know what that means. It's what the fitness time. What do we got this week?
It is coming to you live via text in 5, 4,
Don't fuck it up.
2, 1.
Oh boy. Oh boy. He seems like an actual nice guy, or at least he's nice in the comments.
Yeah.
Like, I think he does it so you don't want to get mad at him. So I like try to leave him alone, and then I'm sure whatever I see, this is next. So, okay, it's Thomas DeLauer for. Apparently, Pampers loves Thomas DeLauer.
If you're watching this channel, you probably think outside the box already. Okay, that's what this channel is about. Looking at nutrition from a biochemistry standpoint and not just the...
From a biochemistry, all right, I'm already triggered. Where did you do your biochemistry degree, Thomas? I would like to know. I have mine. You should try it. It's great.
Everyday calories in, calories out standpoint. Well, here's another argument.
Okay, so I don't know how many fucking times I have to say this until people get it. Calories in, calories out is energy balance. If something affects weight loss, it is doing it through calories in, calories out, either by increasing calories in or increasing or decreasing energy expenditure. So it's operating on one of those two sides of the equation. Now, people hear energy expenditure and they think exercise. No, your energy expenditure is, yes, your exercise, but also your basal metabolic rate, also your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is just small movements that are subconscious that you do throughout the day, your TEF, and that sort of thing. And people think they're like, oh, but what about hormones? Hormones don't exist outside of calories in, calories out, okay? There are hormones that can affect calories out and calories in. Like, for example, leptin. Leptin falls, you get hungrier, you want to eat more, okay? Thyroid, if you're hypothyroid, it's going to lower your basal metabolic rate and decrease your total daily energy expenditure. None of this shit exists outside of calories in, calories out. But people think calories in, calories out is, oh, I track my calories and then I look at my fucking watch, which isn't accurate, by the way, which tells me I burned this many calories, but I didn't lose weight, so calories in, calories out is bullshit. No, your fucking watch is inaccurate. They've been shown to be inaccurate they overestimate energy expenditure by 30 to almost 100%. So yeah, that's not calories in, calories out. Calories in, calories out is laws of thermodynamics. You cannot create nor destroy energy, only transfer it. If you take carbons in, they don't just magically flitter off into the ether. All right, that's 13 seconds into this video, so we'll see how a 7-minute video goes for me.
Argument against calories in versus calories out, but it's really, really fascinating. Okay, this takes a look at whole food consumption versus processed food consumption.
Oh, I know where this is
and
going.
what it does in terms of your thermogenic response. Like, do certain foods actually burn more calories than other?
Wait, Thomas, I thought calories in, calories out wasn't a thing, but you just said certain foods make you burn more calories. That would fall under the CO of CICO, or calories out, just letting you know. So this is like saying people mistake tracking calories for calories in, calories out. Calories in, calories out is what is. Tracking calories is a tool. That's like saying, I saved money without a budget, therefore, you don't have to earn more than you spend in order to save money. No, you fucking do. A budget can help with that, but you don't need to necessarily keep a budget to do that. It's the same shit with tracking your calories and calories in, calories out. One is a tool, one is physiological laws. Fuck!
Other foods, even if they're of equal caloric value. So it's a really cool study that was published in Food and Nutrition Research. We're going to break it down and give you some answers so that you can have a good application of this. But
Spoiler
first,
alert,
please
I know
do
this
hit
study.
the red subscribe button if you're new to this channel. We've got new videos coming out daily. Okay, we're the leading intermittent fasting channel, one of the leading nutrition channels on YouTube, so I highly recommend it. Please hit that bell icon so you can turn on notifications.
We all know
as
YouTube
well. I
is
really
the
appreciate
bastion
that.
of
And after this video,
scientific
check
nutrition
out ButcherBox
information.
down below in the description. They're a meat delivery service with grass-fed, grass-finished beef. They're what I utilize. Great prices, way better than the grocery store in a lot of ways, and quite honestly, just good quality stuff. So go ahead and check them out down below in the description. Thank you for supporting this channel,
ButcherBox.
And let's go ahead and
Where's my
dive into
ButcherBox
science.
sponsorship,
So the
man?
study that's published in Food and
I did a
Nutrition
takedown
Research,
of the
it was
fucking
cool
Game
because
Changers. Don't I deserve
it
a
really wanted
ButcherBox
to break
sponsorship?
down if a calorie was really a calorie.
This is my favorite, is when they put fucking, like a video of random fucking scientists doing shit in a lab that has nothing to do with fucking calories in, calories out. Although apparently they got strawberries on the table, so they're apparently assessing something in the strawberries. It's like when they show CSI and they like Eppendorf some shit and then put it in a test tube and centrifuge it, and then magically they get results, and it's like, really? I didn't know a centrifuge could give you fucking DNA results.
It was published in Food
Spoiler,
and
it
Nutrition
can't.
Research. It was cool because it really wanted to break down if a calorie was really a calorie. Okay, it wanted to measure the amount of energy that was produced.
So again, calorie, people say not all calories are created equal. Yes, they are. That's like saying all dollars aren't created equal. Yes, they are. Now, where you invest your dollars can have differential responses on how many dollars you get back. Like, for example, putting dollars into a car that depreciates in value is not as good of an investment as putting dollars into, say, an upskilling educational course, which can help you learn and get more dollars back by upskilling. Just like if you put a certain amount of calories from a certain type of food that you get less of a thermogenic response from compared to like unprocessed food, then one is a better investment than the other. But it doesn't change the fact that calories are created equal. All sources of calories are not created equal.
Produced from a given meal consumed. So what they did
You know,
is
I'm
they
only
took
90 seconds
two
into this. I'm just
different
gonna
meals.
fucking kill my
They
soul.
took a whole food meal, which in this case it was whole grain dense bread.
Hold up. Thomas, I'm pretty sure you don't like bread. But all of a sudden you're talking about a study that's got bread in it and you're promoting this study. I would like to know how the mental gymnastics work with that. But anyway.
Not exactly good, but at least it's whole food for the case of
Okay.
the study. So whole grain dense bread with real cheddar cheese. Okay, whole food cheddar cheese. And they compared
I know what study he's
that
talking about 'cause I've broken
to
it down before.
processed white bread with processed sliced cheese. Okay, and what they wanted to figure out here was if people consumed one food or the other, did they have a stronger caloric response, a thermogenic response after consuming said
So again,
food?
a stronger
Okay,
response of
all
calories
the
out.
calories between the groups were completely equal. Okay, and the macronutrients, the protein, the fats, the carbohydrates were completely the same.
That's
The only
actually
thing that
not
was
true.
different was the level of processing. Okay, so again, if you're thinking calories in versus calories out, these foods are created equal. They're the same calories, so they're going to elicit the same response. Well,
I'm gonna
let's
let you
dive into
finish
the
before I
results.
destroy your
Both
argument,
groups
Thomas.
rated the sandwiches as equally satisfying. Okay, the reason I say this is because people are going to come to this video and they're going to try to debunk it and they're going to try to throw me under the bus and they're going to say, well, no, the only reason one is blah, 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 blah is because they're not satiated. Well, both groups said they felt equally satiated. Okay, get that out of the way.
I feel like Thomas is
The
talking
major
about me
difference
here.
between the two was
That
the
would make me
thermogenic
happy.
response. The whole food sandwich burned 33 total calories, okay, to actually digest and break down the sandwich. Okay, that was close to 20%, 19.9% of its total energy value being burned, okay? Then the processed sandwich ended up only burning 17 calories, or 10.7% of its total caloric energy, its total value. Okay, that's less than half the energy that it takes to break down a whole food sandwich, to break down a regular processed sandwich.
Yes, a whopping
You see what I'm
difference of
saying here?
16 calories.
The point with this is that the processed food didn't take much energy to break down. So you're not getting a thermogenic response. And I know it sounds negligible. You're looking at, oh, 33 versus 17 calories. It's such a negligible amount. Factor this in over the course of the day with all your food. If all your food's processed, you are easily looking at 100 to 200 extra calories per day that you're not burning. That's the same as consuming 100 to 200 extra calories because your body's not burning it. And again, that doesn't sound like much to you. 100 calories extra a day over the course of a month, that's going to be close to a pound of fat a month. That's 12 pounds of fat a year. If you creep up to 200.
So this is a common misconception. You would be correct, Thomas, if metabolism was static. But if you overeat by 100 calories, I promise you, anybody can try this. Overeat your calories, eat over your maintenance by 100 calories a day. You might put on a couple pounds, if that, and then you'll plateau. Why? Because your body increases its energy expenditure in response to overfeeding, and eventually you plateau. Now you probably put on a little bit of weight. You're not going to put on that much weight. People like this don't understand that calories in and calories out are not independent variables. They are dependent variables. If you increase calories in, it actually increases calories out. Now, that's not saying it completely offsets. It doesn't. But as you accrue more lean mass, as you increase your thermogenic response, meaning your body gets more wasteful with energy the more you give it, you're not just going to capture all those calories. Your body is going to be more wasteful with them. So if you overeat by 100 calories, you might put a couple of pounds on, if that. You're not going to put 12 pounds on. I promise you. Try it for yourself. I promise that's not going to happen. Anybody out there who's ever done a quote unquote lean bulk, where you try to just overeat by like 50 to 100 calories, what you probably noticed was you would gain nothing, and then maybe you'd put on a couple pounds as you kept increasing your calories once you got past a certain point. That's because metabolism is not static, it's very adaptive, and if you overeat, you increase energy expenditure.
200 a day because you eat a lot of processed food? You do the math, you're creeping up on 20 pounds a year. This could be a big reason why obesity is on the increase because of processed food, not because we're just consuming more like some people are going to say.
But we are, Thomas. If you look at the calorie consumption, I believe in the last 30 years has gone up by over 500 calories per day for US citizens. So yeah, we are eating more calories. Now, part of that is because we are eating so much processed food, because processed food is not satiating. In fact, Kevin Hall did a study where he fed people either processed food or unprocessed food and let them eat as much as they want. And they found that, lo and behold, people eating ultra-processed food ate 500 calories more per day on average because it wasn't as satiating. Now, could this be part of that? Yes, it could. I'm not saying it can't. But I'm going to explain what some of the problems were with this study and the limitations of the study after you get done rambling about it.
But this wouldn't be a typical Thomas DeLauer channel video if we didn't look at some of the biochemistry. So we'll make it simple, but why is this happening? Well, it has to be somewhat speculated, but the biggest things is the refinement, right? When you look at processed food, it's refined. You lose the vitamins, you lose the minerals, and in this particular case, because it was a highly starchy meal, I'm gonna say it probably has something to do with the B vitamins.
There's no evidence that B vitamins increase energy expenditure. There's no evidence that any vitamins increase energy expenditure that I've ever heard of. So how would a lack of vitamins change things?
And the lack of fiber. Okay, without the fiber.
Lack of fiber. Now, fiber is different, and I'm going to get to that. Fiber does increase energy expenditure or decrease energy intake, depending on how you look at it, because especially like insoluble fiber doesn't get absorbed, and soluble fiber is only partially absorbed. You get around 1 to 4 calories out of soluble fiber. So it just depends on the soluble fiber and your individual gut microbiome.
Fiber, it digests easier, so you have less mechanical digestion, which takes calories to break it down. And you also end up having less of the B vitamins that allow glucose metabolism to properly function. Okay, therefore you might have an increase in blood sugar, but it's never actually...
So yeah, you miss B vitamins in one meal and all of a sudden your blood glucose metabolism can't function. No, let me tell you why that whole pretext doesn't even make sense, okay? Let's say you missed your B vitamins at one meal and it shut down glucose metabolism or caused it not to function, as Thomas said. That would mean you would not assimilate the glucose correctly. That would actually cause you to lose weight, not gain weight. You'd be not capturing those calories. Type 1 diabetics, they cannot dispose of glucose. One of the ways you can diagnose it is they lose weight. They lose weight quite a bit. and they eat a lot because they're not absorbing glucose. So again, this just shows how much Mr. Biochemistry doesn't actually understand biochemistry.
Are actually getting utilized by the cells because that B vitamin isn't there to allow the proper metabolism of the glucose. So you just raise your blood sugar without.
So again, he uses really nebulous terms like just metabolism in general without defining it. And there's good reason for that. It's because he can't.
Without actually getting a caloric burn from it. Food, glucose, fats, whatever, they all cause our body heat to go up, a thermogenic response. It's the thermic effect of food, and it's kind of like free money. It's free weight loss. Whenever you eat, you have a little bit of a thermic effect. So processed food doesn't get you that thermic effect as much. The second piece also has to do with refinement, okay, but it looks at it more from a mechanical piece. If you take something like milled grain or something like that, and you refine it and continue to refine it, eventually you're going to end up with something that's quite frankly easy to digest because the refining has already digested it, for lack of a better term. This means it's going to absorb really easily, which may sound good to some people because nutrient absorption is best, but no, you're not having the mechanical digestion occur.
But Thomas, you just said that you don't basically assimilate that glucose or use that glucose or metabolize that glucose. But now you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth and you don't even realize you're doing it because you don't understand the biochemistry and physiology behind it. And now you say mechanical digestion isn't occurring with these refined foods. No, mechanical digestion is still occurring. Just because something's been refined and you've taken the fiber out of it or decreased the fiber content doesn't mean you don't still need mechanical digestion. And I've seen no evidence, and somebody can link me if I'm wrong, I have seen no evidence thus far that refining foods actually lowers the mechanical digestion requirement compared to unrefined foods. In fact, you could argue that without fiber, the mechanical digestion may even be more difficult and more energy expensive because without fiber, you are going to have less bulk to your food. That means your intestine and your entire GI tract is going to have to work harder with peristalsis, which is the wave-like contractions of the GI tract, to move that food down.
Therefore, you're not burning as many calories. Then the third thing we have to look at is the secondary metabolism piece. Okay, enzyme formation. See, all these little things that add up. The formation of enzymes, building enzymes to actually break down this food. And then over the long haul, one could argue that if you eat a lot of processed food, you start to lack the enzymes that you would need to normally break down good, healthy foods.
Okay, so this just shows how, like, that claim is just absolutely asinine. Asinine. Absolute fucking nonsense. I promised I would try to get through a video of critiquing Thomas DeLauer without losing my fucking mind, and I'm at 6 minutes and 5 seconds, I'm done. There's no evidence that happens. Further, just because something's refined and you've removed the fiber out of it, that doesn't mean that you've actually broken all the chemical bonds therein. Yes, you've got more sugar. Sugar still has chemical bonds that have to be broken down. If you take protein, you can argue that whey protein is very refined. The research shows that whey protein elicits just as great of a thermogenic response as intact protein sources, even though it requires less mechanical digestion. You're not getting less enzyme formation because that protein source still has chemical bonds that need to be broken down. There's no evidence that you require less enzyme formation. And even then to say, well, that's going to lower your thermic response, there's no evidence of that either. Yes, there seems to be a slightly lower thermic response to a processed food meal compared to an unprocessed food meal. There's no evidence it's because of enzyme formation. Once again, this is just an example of somebody who hasn't had physiology classes, hasn't had biochemistry. So they say these things because they sound good. They sound like they make sense, but they don't have actually anything to back those claims up. And I invite Thomas, if he has citations to back this up, please send them to me or put them in the comments. I would be happy to read those citations. I don't think they exist. I've never seen them. Maybe my knowledge is incomplete and he knows something I don't.
Simple things in the world of like whole grains. If you switch from whole grains to white bread and you eat white bread for a year, well, then maybe you're going to lose the ability to break down the whole grains. And then you wonder why when you go back to whole grains, you feel bloated, right?
Well, if you go back to whole grains, you feel bloated because it has fiber. Fiber in the short term can actually bloat you because fiber pulls water into the GI tract, which makes you feel full, which is a great effect, but also can make you feel bloated. Go eat a pound of veggies and let me know how you feel initially. Further, again, just because you've refined and taken out the fiber, you still have the starch in bread that is still held together by chemical bonds that must be broken down by enzymes during digestion. Once again, this claim is completely asinine.
Same kind of concept, because you're losing the enzyme activity, which, by the way, takes calories to form those enzymes. So we look at this entire equation. Now, again, an argument that could come in is, okay, the white bread's higher glycemic. Okay, so the high glycemic foods are going to absorb faster, and it's not apples to apples because you're looking at high glycemic foods. That's my point. Okay, so the same people that are going to make that argument and say that it's high glycemic, so that's not apples to apples. Those are the same people that are making the argument that a calorie is a calorie. So you just completely just kick yourself because now you're saying that it's not equal.
That actually is no part of my argument. I don't even care about the glycemic index.
So whether it's because it's high glycemic or not, it is not treated the same in the body. A calorie is not always a calorie, but
it is. One more time. A calorie is a unit of heat, of energy. Literally. That's like saying, well, the degrees on your thermometer, not everyone is created equal. No, they fucking are. All calories are created equal. Not all sources of calories have the same impact on energy expenditure.
Calories, don't throw them away. If you're looking at massive weight loss, if you're looking, yes, the calories are still going to matter. It's still your fuel tank. It's still your energy.
Hey, he's admitting calories matter.
But if you're getting granular and you really want to focus on what's happening in your body,
we're getting
you need to
somewhere.
look at the secondary metabolism that's occurring here. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.
As Thomas DeLauer videos goes, this one wasn't as bad as some of the rest. Don't get me wrong, it's still fucking bad, but it wasn't as bad as some of the rest. I don't necessarily disagree with the advice to consume less processed foods. I think that's probably generally good advice, but we need to be honest about why. I agree with Thomas insofar as it does appear that unprocessed food produces a slightly greater thermic effect of food compared to processed food. I also agree that it is a good idea to get most of your calories from mostly unprocessed foods. However, I think it's important to be honest about why that is. One, satiety, and that's the biggest thing. Two, possibly a small difference in TEF. Finally, it's just good habits. You want to get enough fiber, enough micronutrients, all that kind of stuff. But let's be honest about why it's happening. It's not because of fucking B vitamins, and it's not because you're over time stopping producing your digestive enzymes. That's just nonsense. I'm not saying you should eat processed foods because I know there are people out there who will claim that this video means I'm advocating for processed foods. No, I think eating a lot of processed foods is generally a bad idea because it's not satiating and you're getting a slightly lower effect of the thermic effect of food. But you don't need to freak out over having some processed food if you decide that you want it and it fits in your daily caloric budget. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I tried not to freak out too much. It's very triggering for me, some of the nonsense. But overall, it appears that at least Thomas does recognize that if he says dumb shit, I'm probably going to tear it apart. So he's trying not to say dumb shit, I think, but he still made some claims that were pretty silly. So hopefully he continues to get better and I won't have to do these videos anymore because he actually seems like a relatively nice guy, even though I strongly disagree with his approach. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of What the Fitness. I will catch you next week.